Do you think a much better preparation, sir, would be joining forces with PDP or a political party that has the structure?
What
to
structure? Win? The structure of impunity.
No, let me correct, or let me just state this for a fact, right? I believe in structures, and by structures I mean, so for example, your life has structure, my life has structure.
We didn't lose 2023. No, we didn't lose 2023 because of a lack of structure.
But one would argue, I think I saw on the internet that LP didn't have polling agents and a lot of.
What about PDP? Didn't PDP have? Yeah, I was in the situation room.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is this: where we didn't have polling agents, PDP had.
But PDP is not LP.
But we shared resources.
Why? It's a different political party.
Number one, remember this. I am not a member of Labour Party.
Okay.
I worked for Peter Obi.
Yes, that's true.
And in looking at the election, I was looking at the election holistically. Holistically in the sense that I wasn't looking at parties. Yes. I was looking at what resources were available. And the resources that were available in the situation room were those from the different parties. There were, I think, 19 parties or thereabout that went into that election. Where the Labour Party didn't have polling agents, other parties had, and we shared information. In Lagos State, for instance, it was the PDP that brought out the election result that was contrary to what INEC and Segun Agbaje, the REC in Lagos, brought out. They brought out the result in Lagos State without a single Form EC8A backing it up. Where did they get those results from? But PDP had the Form EC8A. We also had the Form EC8A, and we cross-referenced. And that was how the bulk of the results that we have today were compiled. INEC up until today cannot give you the result for 2023 election. They uploaded a whole load of nonsense in a whole load of places, and they cannot give you a coherent result. But to a very large extent, what they continue to ignore is that there were at least 18 political parties. If the Labour Party did not have polling agents in every polling unit, other parties had. One of those parties with which we synergized in compiling results in the situation room was the PDP.
So wouldn't it make more sense then, looking forward to 2027? My two-part question, sir. Would you think P2B has a chance in the next election? And wouldn't it make more sense to prepare in this belief, in this recognition of how important it is to prepare? Wouldn't it make a lot more sense to synergize with PDP or a bigger, it could be SDP, for example?
Let me say this. I believe since after the 2023 election, we've had 5 gubernatorial elections. What INEC has done is to establish its uselessness in the course of conducting those 5 elections. What it has done consistently is to prove that it is more useless than the last time. So I don't know the basis upon which anybody will be expecting a different outcome in 2027. I don't know if our judiciary would have suddenly found itself on the road to Damascus and become born again to the point where there will be anything meaningful changing in 2027. So in the absence of electoral reforms, in the absence of judicial reforms, if you like, go and bring 100 PDP with their structures, as long as they are not, that structure does not include a control of Mahmoud Yakubu or whoever is replacing Mahmoud Yakubu, if they decide to replace Mahmoud Yakubu. As long as Ekekere Ekun and a cohort are still sat in judicial offices, as long as a wicked is still the one appointing resident electoral commissioners, such as the one that came and ran the election in Edo State, what do you expect?
Yeah, but we can't just give up, though. It's as if you're saying we should just throw up our hands in the air. Oh. I mean, CPC, the coalition of parties that were formed in 2015, CPC, those 3 parties that came together to form APC,
AC.
Yeah, they didn't give up. They tried at least to coalesce.
Let me tell you something. I was opportune to meet President Jonathan in person sometime, I think it was this month. No, last month. It was I was part of those who had to receive him at Chivayo Adebanjo's residence after Papa died. And I looked at the man and I realized why the APC could do what it did in 2015. Jonathan is a man of peace. He's not your typical Nigerian politician. What qualified Jonathan to be the deputy governor in Bayelsa disqualified him to be the president of Nigeria. What qualified him to be the vice president to Yaradua disqualified him from being the Nigerian president. It is those disqualifications that made it possible for APC to gain power in 2015. The first job of the Nigerian president from inception has been to preserve themselves in power. Whether that means killing,
consolidate power,
whatever they had to do, they did. Jonathan was too much of a gentleman to play that game. That's why he's out of power. To now answer your question, I don't believe that Tinubu cannot be removed from office. But I don't believe that that will be achieved because a coalition of disgruntled politicians came together to decree it. It will only happen when the people come to the knowledge of the fact that power resides with them. It is in that knowledge that they can work to remove the APC. The blight that has overtaken our land can never be removed on account of politicians cross-carpeting up and down the place. In any case, when have you ever heard Nigerian politicians quarreling over substantive issues of policy or anything of the sort?
Ideology, no.
Never. The only time they quarrel is when they can't share the loot in their preferred fashion. So that PDP or Pupupu or this one or that one, I'm not interested in coalitions of politicians. I would love to see Nigerians realigning across the length and breadth of Nigeria, awakening to the fact that this is their country, they have no other one, and they are the ones who would have to save it. Organizing themselves to resist the burgeoning impunity that has overtaken our country. That will give me hope. But talking about politicians aligning, forming this or forming that coalition, I just see it as more of the same old nonsense. I don't see that birthing any change of any sort.
Yeah.